believe everyone. Okay, so we are recording now, and it's so funny that we act like it doesn't really start until we push the record button, right? So we've already started. We've already started, and well, first of all, I just want to say welcome to everybody, and you all here know Justine Arian, founder of the Multi-Passionate Moms Club, Women's Transformation Coach, and Suzie and I were talking about, some bumps in the road that we had on this journey to get here today together. This almost didn't happen. We almost didn't make it here, but because Suzie and I are committed to our craft, because we're professionals, because we are committed to you, and I got that really clearly in our communication, that she really cares about doing a good job and, cares about you guys, and so do I, and you know that. So we were able to work through it. And here we are to serve you. And I'm really happy to have Suzie here, because she is, the first conversation I had with Suzie, we really connected, and it was on a deeper level. And I know we have a lot of you that are very spiritual on here. And it's more than like the surface of just how to organize spaces, right? It's more about like the emotional attachment or the emotional clutter that comes in, that gets in the way of us being able to have clear spaces. And, so I love the title Zen Organizing, Zen, we all want that. And because believe me, girl, when I think of organizing, I am not in a Zen place. It's like, right? So that, and then, what Suzie's going to talk to us about is freeing the clutter for good. So it's not just, one time you're going to figure out how to organize things, but you're really going to look at like what's blocking you. And she has she's going to talk to us about the 7 clutter freedoms, which I'm so curious about. And let me do just an official bio read, okay? So I want to give you the full intro here. So Suzie is a nationally recognized professional organizing expert. She's a speaker and a life coach, and she emboldens you to transform your career, relationships, and life by creating mindful spaces for what really matters. Ooh, I love that. The heart of Suzie's mission is a belief that organization does not have to be hard, but instead can be inspiring, empowering, and a fun expression of who you truly are. Yay. She teaches mindful abundance practices with a minimalist approach to help you let go of what no longer serves and helps you manifest your intentions from your spaces. Yay. Yay to that. So I've got my notebook here. Grab yours so we can take notes, because I need this as much as any of you do. We all, yeah. And welcome, Suzie.
Thank you so much. I feel so much enthusiasm, and I'm really, really grateful to be here. I really honor our time together. This is like sacred space. So not only am I here to teach you, I'm here to be an example, a completely transparent example. I'm the ultimate client. I'm the ultimate crazy Zen chaotic person that has learned how to tune in to my intuitive abilities, to tune into Zen and what that means to me in my life. So no matter, life is not going to change. It's still going to deliver all these challenges and distractions and busyness and getting pulled in all these directions. What changes is us from within. I'm here really to teach you how to tune into your intuitive abilities. We call it organizing. I call it tuning in to really your inner powers, your inner harmony. That's what you're wanting. We hear these concepts like your inner world reflects your outer world, right? So we hear this, but we hear it, but we know we need to meditate. We know mindfulness sounds good. We hear it. What do you do beyond hearing it? Well, you learn more about it. You learn more about what it means to you, and you gain a better understanding of it for yourself. And in that process, you begin to change. So this is what I've learned, the difference between people that are wanting to make change from the ones that are actually transforming their lives. The difference is the differences between just learning the information is wanting to change. So you're future thinking, you're in a lot of mind, or you're more present and you're transforming your life because you're actually being honest with what's happening right now. So I'm going to actually have you be honest with yourselves today. So you're going to choose one space that you want to create, whether it's a space that causes you frustration, chaos, whether it feels cluttered or disorganized, it's not functioning, and you're annoyed with it. And you've been annoyed with it. You're sick of it. Maybe it's a space that feels really overwhelming, and so you need to break that big space up into a smaller one, a little project in that space. Or maybe you have a space that it feels easy and simple, that you've been meaning to do it, but you haven't. Or maybe you have a space that you've attempted to change, to make it better, to declutter and organize it, but you got distracted and weren't able to follow through. These are the real things that are happening when we're wanting to create more function and experience more peaceful homes. Now, I'm totally off script here, by the way. I'm just having so much to share with you guys. You can prepare and then you can let go and just be present with the message that's meant to happen. So ladies, I also communicate with angels, so I get a lot of messages. So I'm getting a lot of messages for you guys. So I'm going to get straight to the point and just really share wisdom. And I encourage you to turn on your microphones if you have questions or you want to speak up at any time. The more you engage, the more growth you're going to experience from this wisdom, this teachings of Organized Zen. So let me share with you a little bit about right now. Right now, you're seeing me in complete authenticity. I've absolutely makeup on. I got out of the shower. I feel like a mom. Like I'm I have worked with so many, and so I really seek to always understand you better so that I can help you, because in my personal life, my mom and I were not able to create a healthy relationship. So moms, to me, I have so much passion about removing the clutter and really what are your essentials in life, because honestly, as a child who grew up in a home that wasn't very loving and peaceful, it was very chaotic. The one thing I needed most was to be able to experience love, connection of love. So no matter how much you think you're not doing enough and that you're trying harder and you're on this hamster wheel, if you're even feeling that, or other times you're superwoman and you're feeling on top of everything, regardless of what you're doing, your natural state of being is love. And the reason why we need these mindful spaces is so that we can have spaces that love us and that reflect love back to us. And when we're able to do that, we're able to better generate self-love. And the more self-love we can generate, the more love we have to give to every relationship in our world. Seriously. So we're getting straight to the core of clutter and disorganization. And when we get straight to it, we go to a minimalist approach. I'm a professional organizer turned lifestyle transformation and mindful spaces coach, because in my life, I never really had a lot of clutter in my life, and I was extremely organized. and very intuitive. And this helped me develop a very successful career that made me unhappy. I had success on the outside, but not on the inside. And so it was a turning point for me when I started transforming my life. The way that I did it was to actually declutter and organize and start really letting go of what no longer serves me. But this is very difficult for people because we can create an organized space. This is how I started working with my clients, is I give them exactly what they wanted. Okay, want versus need. Wanted. They wanted, which is what you want from me. I know you want this from me. You want a quick solution. You want a perfectly organized space right now. I can give that to you easily, no problem. But the problem is my clients weren't able to sustain that. It looked perfect, but it wasn't sustainable. And the reason why is because we didn't want to deal with the ugly elephant in the room, which was clutter. And so because of this, I am committed to your success. Anyone in my life that resonates with my message or my energy or my intentions, I'm committed to teaching you what I know and to help you be able to transform your life, the aspects of your life you're unhappy with, and to tune in again to your real superpowers, your intuitive abilities. This is feminine energy rising. This is needed on a scale with us, individual, and on a large term scale with all the chaos that's happening in the world. That's why you're needed. You're needed to get organized and declutter and create these mindful spaces because your light and your love is needed in this world. But how are you supposed to know your power if your spaces tell you that you're not enough? So we want your spaces to be spaces that reflect love back at you. And when they're reflecting love at you, they're nurturing every person in your family with love, including your animals, including your plants, including everything. Everything is blessed. Okay, so wow, I really needed to get that out. So what I'm going to share with you more practical now is this process. I want to share with you how to get off that clutter cycle. So in order to get off it, we got to know what it is. It's like the hamster wheel, but I'm going to actually break it down for you. So you may experience this where you had an organized space or a clean space. A lot of things I see with modern day mothers, conscious women, is you have organized skills. You're massively organized in areas of your life. I know you are if you think about it. The areas that are really important to you, you're super organized with, and you're typically really on top of. The problem that's been difficult is ever since technology came into our world, it started cluttering up our minds, which started cluttering up our lives. And so even though we're like, God, I was so organized, and then I had kids, and then it all fell apart. Well, we're living in a day and age that's incredibly difficult to stay focused on what really matters. And so if you look at your schedule, chances are many of you may be struggling with your schedule reflects all the busyness and all the things, the obligations you feel like you need to do, but the things that really matter, like your own time for yourself, maybe date night with your spouse, maybe, cocktails with your friends, spa day, whatever. Those things are falling on the wayside. And those are the things that we need to regenerate ourselves so that we have more of ourselves to give. A common misconception is that it's selfish, right? It's selfish to take time for myself. But oh my gosh, I have, paper is one of the most common things that everyone comes to me for in their office is paper. Paper, mail, magazines, everything. And I will tell you, I have an amazing system, by the way. It's so freaking simple. You'll jump out of your chair. It manages paper like crazy. I have seen rooms full of paper, and this system, people are shocked in how little time we can get rid of that clutter. And if you want to go paperless, the reason why I'm bringing up paper right now is because paper is One of the simplest, one of the recommendations I have of getting started when it comes to decluttering, because as many of you know, the life-changing magic of Marie Kondo, her work is amazing. However, a lot of mothers, they identify with certain aspects, the spiritual aspects, but the practical can be a little tricky because she comes from a culture that's a Japanese culture that is very perfectionist. So if you're hyper-perfectionist, you'll love her methodologies. She does have the spirituality in there, but there's emotion, the emotional connection, and also how to create a loving space, a mindful one. That's where I come in to complement. We all, the organizers, we all complement each other. It's why you have organizing books on your bookshelves. I know you do because I see them all the time. So things like paper tell us a lot about, okay, the other thing I want to share about clutter, I have never heard anyone say, I'm grateful for my clutter. And let me tell you, one of the 3 Zen aspects of letting go of clutter in your life, we're going to talk about what clutter is, and you're going to identify which clutter is blocking you the most, and you're going to choose a space by the end of this call today. You're also going to have an organizing wish list so that you can take action, and I'm going to give you a 7-day challenge at the end of this, where you check in with me at 7 days, you take a before and after of your space and show me your progress. Or you can have a buddy system and share it with someone, but I want you to share this. At the end of this, I'm also going to give you a link. Actually, I'm going to give you my website for you to go to, where you can sign up to receive my brand new ebook called How to Create a Mindful Space. So what I'm teaching you now is step 1. Step 2 will be how to see your space from a new perspective. I also give you tips on how I see it and recommendations on what you can do. And what's great is you can block out like 15 minutes or 20 minutes or 5 minutes. I know that the best ways to incorporate and organize life for you is to take it in small chunks. I know that 5 hours is really difficult to carve out of your schedule. So stay tuned, because my teachings really are for really busy people. And also I'm going to teach you how to learn how to meditate in the future in only 7 breaths. So in less than 2 minutes, you're going to have a brand new meditation exercise where you can confidently say, I am meditating every day. And you're not just saying it, you're doing it, and you're in the journey experiencing what you see when people meditate. You see there's something you want in them that you see. You will get that by stepping into your journey of meditating. So all these tools I have for you, again, I have so much to share, which is why it brings me to this moment right now of not wearing any makeup and feeling like a mama. I'm actually right now, I just finished my first ebook that I'll be sending to you guys, and I'm actually posting, we're going to talk about the 7 freedoms today, but I'm actually writing the blogs on each of these 7 freedoms, because there's a lot more depth to go into. I can cover a certain amount in a short period of time, but we're in a journey together. And so I want you to have as much valuable information, practical, spiritual, that's going to help you really transform these spaces and get you to what your essentials are in life, what your needs are in life. What I learned most being a minimalist, scarcity way of living to an abundant way of being. And this is what we're after. We want to find flow. And this we're going intuitively because you have natural gifts to connect you with the flow. The reason why we love nature so much is because it's in universal natural flow. It does not resist. It's in its flow. It's showing us a reflection of who we naturally are. Yes, we're humans, but we are truly spiritual beings having a human experience, but we get so caught up in the humanness, we lose our real powers and our gifts of really embracing a meaningful life. So you're on your deathbed and there's no regrets. You live life to your fullest. And so the clutter gets in the way of that, all of it. So I'm going to simplify the term of what clutter is. Okay, I know a lot of information in a really short period of time. That's why I said grab your notebooks. Okay, so going back, the reason, let me share with you how the Clutter Freedoms came about, how I discovered them. So it started out with this constant frustration that I was giving my clients what they wanted, which was a perfectly organized space, but they weren't able to sustain it. And I, like you guys, I mean, if we don't see people that are having success that we're being part of and contributing to, my joy is about your success, you growing. We're in this together. We rise together. So if you're not successful, I'm not successful, and that's not a win-win. I want everyone to grow, right? And so so I went deeper into what was getting in the way. How is clutter affecting modern women in this day and age? And so I started research. I started interviewing modern day women, successful women, high achieving women, all sorts of women, and that were experiencing clutter in their lives. And I asked them 2 questions. I asked them 5 questions, but 2 of them were really where the discovery came about. The first question I want you to think about for this moment is, what does clutter actually mean to you? Take a moment. What does clutter actually mean to you in your life? This is something you can think about later. Again, I want you to write this down though, so that you can reflect back on this. The second question I asked them is, how is clutter how is clutter affecting their lives? How is clutter affecting your life? So what does it mean, and how is it affecting you in your life? And when I gathered all these responses, I was amazed, because I actually learned what clutter was, and I discovered these 7 clutter freedoms. So what I discovered was, write this down, clutter is anything that blocks your flow in life and the joy in you. Clutter is anything that blocks the flow in your life and the joy in you. Okay, we're going to simplify this, because we make nearly 35,000 decisions a day. So we have 35,000 opportunities to get distracted from what we're trying to focus on. So I'm going to simplify it. It's either clutter or it's not. And now you know what clutter is. It's either blocking your flow or it's blocking your joy. You're not feeling uplifted. It's draining you. It's the difference between an obligation versus inspiration. Inspiration means, Wayne Dyer says this. He would say this. When inspiration, if you break down the word, inspired is in spirit. You are in your intuition, in your flow, in spirit. You're connecting with something greater than you. That's why we want to follow what inspires us in life and not negotiate that. Minimalism is getting your needs met first. Write this down. My needs are non-negotiable. Period. There's a difference between want and needs. I will share more of this. Again, there's a lot more information and content that I'm going to be sharing with you to raise your awareness, your self-awareness, so that you can really transform the aspects of the life that you've been really frustrated with deep down inside. All right. So when I discovered what clutter was, I discovered that there's 7 types of clutter that block us physically, mentally, and emotionally, and they're all sources of stress. And the number 1 preventative disease globally we're suffering from is stress related that could have been prevented. Stress is the hidden killer in our society. And yet many of us we don't know a life without stress. So it's scary to slow down. We can be peaceful for a little while, but how many of you are you go on a vacation, but you still can't stop thinking and relax because you think of all the things that you have to be doing in your life? So you're not really relaxing. We forget how to relax, which, by the way, I have a little relaxation candle because I'm all about creating mindfulness. And so I'm giving you some relaxation energy and blessing you that you experience more moments of real relaxation. Let that be a priority. Here's why it's also important. And here's also why I teach my clients. I'm going to teach you, not today, but in the future. I'm going to have some meditations on breathing exercises and visualizations to help you relax. The reason why a peaceful home and we get in touch and tune with our inner harmony and relax, this is important, because when we are in a relaxed state of mind and beingness, we're reacting or we're responding in a way that's creating more peaceful outcomes. So a peaceful state of mind ends up being peaceful state of words, ends up being peaceful state of actions, which is a peaceful future. There are things we can control in our lives, and there are things that we cannot. What you can control is being intentional. You're co-creating your destiny. It's like playing with the world. But we have to be participants and mindful of how we're showing up, what words we're speaking, what actions we're taking. But this is very difficult to do with the kind of lifestyles that we live right now. That's why I honor our time together, because let this be your time where you pat yourself on the back and say, I made time for mindfulness. I value self-awareness because I know the more that I tune in to my own intuitive powers, my superpowers, I know I'm going to be a model of love for the people in my life. And I know that that's going to create change in my world. When we are in a stressful state of mind, we're creating stressful outcomes. This is another reason why, yes, we know we need to meditate and be peaceful and find our Zen, but these are some of the reasons I want to share with you on deeper levels that you may not be aware of as to why it's so important. People that are meditating, there is a noticeable calmness about them. They respond in their lives differently, and they experience more stress-free living. Imagine you emanating more peace, how that's going to affect your children, how that's going to affect their energy, how they're going to learn to respond to you, how your spouse is going to learn to respond to you, if you put your needs first as a priority, needs are non-negotiable, and you learn how to say, my need is, I'm feeling angry right now, I'm feeling frustrated, I need help. Well, needs are non-negotiable. You can make your requests until you get that help you need, but never give up on getting your needs met because they're always non-negotiable. When you start shifting this in your life, you're going to move from a scarcity survival way of living to an abundant way of living. Because imagine if your needs are always met. Everything foundationally that are essential to you are always met. Everything in life is a bonus. But we prioritize our wants, and that's something outside of us. And that's why I call wants never-ending temptations, because that's all they are. They're outside of us. We're reaching out for something inside of us, a need that's wanting to be heard. Just like your children need you and they reach out for you for your attention, and then you get really present with them. The same things happen inside of us. We have inner childs within us that have needs to be tended to. We are multidimensional beings. We're very complex. That's why it takes time to slow down, to reflect on the complexity and not we make so many assumptions in our lives that are not true. And that's because we have a lot of mind clutter, because we live in a very distracting world. So how many of you are here are ready to identify your top number one clutter block that you didn't know you have? Okay, sweet. All right, so I'm going to share these, and then I'm also going to share the definition of them. I'm switching to my website here, so I'm not sure if you guys can see me. So I'm going to read these off, and then I'll come back with you. By the way, these are on my website, organizezenliving.com. You can write that down. And you can go to this blog. You can go right now, or actually you're on right now, never mind. You can go afterwards, and you're gonna, it's my second blog called The 7 Types of Clutter That Block Us Daily. But there's just a few blogs right now, so it's pretty easy to find. It's the second one from the bottom. Talks a little bit more again about my clutter research, what I discovered in the 7 clutter freedoms. So we're gonna jump right into it. All right, so now that we know what clutter is anything that blocks our flow in life and our joy. And there's 7 types of clutter that block us in life. Clutter impacts our ability to eat, think, sleep, play, relax, and most importantly, feel good. When you address one aspect of clutter, it will improve all the other aspects of clutter. So even though you might think, I don't know which space to get started or what to declutter, it doesn't matter. What matters is that it can matter. You can be specific and intentional. That's what I'm here to help you with. But it doesn't matter when it comes to decluttering. When you remove clutter, it will help all these different aspects. That's why we feel so good when we remove clutter from our lives. If clutter is present, it will block your freedom flow and abilities in these 7 aspects. All right, so here's what you're going to identify. I'm going to share with you the clutter freedom, and you're going to sense if that's an area that you feel blocked in. And so each one of these, there's 7 of them. You can begin to rate yourself. If you don't feel blocked, do a 0. If you do feel blocked, do a 1. And if you really feel blocked, do a 10. So 0, 1, and 10. Super simple. Okay. The first one is vision. Clutter freedom is the ability to connect with what inspires you, your passion, and your purpose in life. This is an innovative well-being. Again, you don't need to write this down. It's all on my website. I want you most importantly to think about how clear, why do you want to declutter your life? Why do you want to get organized? Why does this matter? What are the benefits for you? What's a compelling vision you have to do this? Because it will take your time and energy and focus and effort. And if you're going to create time and space for this, do you have a vision of why you're doing all this? What is the need? What is the need for organizing and decluttering in your life? Think of those things as you're thinking of your vision. Do you feel connected with being inspired, passionate, and purposeful in your life? Go ahead and rate yourself. Number 1, vision.
Suzie.
Yeah.
Is the vision, does it have to do with our life vision or the vision for what you were saying, why we want to declutter?
Great. They go together, but they actually go together. That's a really good question. You guys are courageous. I know you're up for this. So I'm going to challenge you. Okay. Because we can go 2 different ways. That's a great question, but I know you're up for this. So I challenge you to think of how you connect with being inspired, passionate, or purposeful. One of those 3 or all of those 3. Which one, if any, do you feel like you're connected? You feel like you're uplifted when you think of those words? Yeah, I consider myself to be inspired in life. I consider myself to be passionate. I consider myself to be on purpose. That's what you want to be thinking. And if you're not, that means that vision is going to be your number 1 clutter you want to do first. The steps I'm going to take you through on clutter freedom are in order of difficulty to remove from our lives. So number 1, in order to move forward and declutter your life, you have to have a compelling vision as to the benefits you're going to receive. And you're going to want to look in terms of benefits, what your core needs are from those benefits. Okay. Any other questions, by the way? I'm glad. Please speak up. Okay, cool. We'll go back. Okay, the second one This one I'm going to be blogging about next, actually. This is time freedom. It's probably the number one that people struggle with, is feeling a slave to your time or feeling like you're a master of your time. So here's what time freedom is all about. It's imagine how free you feel to enjoy the quality of time, quality of time with the people, places, and things that matter most to you. This is a positive well-being when you experience time freedom. Okay. Number 3, go ahead and rate yourself on time freedom. Number 3, which is what most people identify with, is space freedom. You feel like your environments are spacious to you. It's the ability for you to feel good, to function and flow in your everyday surroundings. When you experience space freedom, you experience a harmonious well-being. Go ahead and rate yourself on 3. Number 4 is mental freedom. We're either mentally cluttered or we're feeling or experiencing mental freedom. This is the ability to think, focus, process, and articulate with clarity and confidence. When we experience mental freedom, like meditation gives us, we let go of everything, we experience a peaceful well-being. Number 5, emotional freedom. This, our society as a whole suffers from greatly because we were taught that it's not okay to feel feelings, or we were judged. Being sad or angry is bad. Being happy is good. We judged our feelings, which was a very human thing to do. What we want to be looking at with our feelings is allowing ourselves to express ourselves so our emotions don't get stuck in us. Because when they get stuck, emotions, they create what we call dis-ease, disease. Disease is a physical manifestation of an emotional clutter. That's a simple way to put it. So emotional clutter is very, very also equally important to all these other ones. This is your ability to feel, to honor, and creatively express your needs and authentic feelings. This is when you have emotional freedom, it's a healthy well-being. You feel healthy. Number 6 is money clutter versus money freedom. This is basically abundance living. The ability to make wise, conscious, and empowered financial decisions and abundance well-being. This is a massive contributor as well to how clutter accumulates in our lives, is because we're making our buying choices from a state of want rather than need. And so it creates a lot of excess or unnecessary distractions and clutter and accumulation in our lives. LA Times reported in 2014, the average American household now has 300,000 items in their home. That's not a judgment. I don't know how you receive that, because everyone receives it differently. But how you receive it is actually important, because it tells you what you think about that. It tells you how you relate to the amount of things. You're either, satisfied with the amount of things that you have in your life, or you're dissatisfied. It's telling, not judging. Okay, and then the last, number 7, is people freedom. Oh man, this is community. Being not how well we're good at putting on masks in our communities, but how well we're taking off our masks with the people in our lives to be authentic and connect. This is people freedom. It's the ability to create healthy, authentic relationships with people, a joyful well-being. So of these types of clutter, which one is holding you back most in your life? This is where you want to start. And when you think you're being held back the most in your life, now I want you to think about the physical clutter or the space that represents. So can one of you share a top clutter that they've identified based on this clutter freedom?
Jen Moore says hers is space, which is also mine.
Okay. And so can you share which space are you most, do you feel, do you know the space you want to start organizing or decluttering? Do most of you know a space? Do you have a space in mind? Let's make sure everyone has a space in mind. If someone doesn't have a space in mind, please feel free to speak up or message, because we want to make sure you all are inspired with one space to create to start out with. Is everyone good?
Can you see the chat, Suzie?
Oh, now I can. Thank you. Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, so Anna says hers is mental freedom, and Tanji.
Thank you. Okay, perfect. Okay, so mental, so space and then mental. So space freedom, decide, what do you need to feel in your space? What do you need freedom from right now? Amy, can you share what you need freedom with your space? Or Jen as well. Anyone with space. What do you need from your space it's not giving you?
I can share. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I've done a lot of decluttering recently. So for me, I feel that what I need from my space, and I am a Cancer crab, so my home is everything. And my little shell is not reflective of who I am or what our family is, and it just doesn't feel like a cohesive shell. It just feels like a dormitory space. And for me, that really is unsettling for me.
Absolutely. How would you rate your space right now in terms of 0 to 10 on how peaceful it is for you? 0 is not peaceful, 10 is highly peaceful.
I'd say about a 2 or 3.
What would make it more peaceful for you?
This is going to sound so shallow, but it really is aesthetics for me.
That's okay. Why does that feel shallow?
Because I'm not usually, like when you were talking about the money and people shopping and buying, I don't shop. I don't wear makeup. It's just not me. I'm the crab inside, but I am very visual. And my space is very effective to me. And so I've recently started making sure I always have fresh flowers on my kitchen counter, because that just so makes me happy. But then there's just chaos all around. And I'm a mom. There's always going to be chaos. I get that. But it's just not cohesive. And I have many strengths. And interior prettiness is not one of mine. At all.
I relate to you so much. I mean, I'm doing a webinar right now with absolutely no makeup. It's actually not my standard because I actually would dress up. The funny thing is I wasn't fully, my bad. I wasn't fully aware of this video. I thought I was going to be able to get away with this audio. That's my truth. So that's exactly what this is all about, is having honest conversations and feeling connected. So also, listening. I'm really listening to you. So I want to reflect back what you just said, okay? Because this is what I'm talking about that's going to give you freedom, is getting your needs met first. Your needs are non-negotiable. The way that we know what our needs are is when we know what we don't like. Life is contrasting. So you don't like that it feels like a dormitory. Let's celebrate that. Because now you know you don't have to tolerate it. Stop tolerating it. And you already are. On a soul level, you're bringing in the flowers, which is nature, which we talked about. Nature is a reflection of our natural, intuitive, who we are, which is one of the aspects to creating a Zen space is to bring Mother Earth. Bring Mother Earth is your mother, your ultimate divine teacher. So bring her into your spaces. Okay, phone's ringing. Mother Earth just called.
See, there you go, on cue. I just want to bring your attention to the time.
Yes.
Because this is great, and this is the best part because everybody loves engaging and getting, you to get it on their stuff. So I can stay on an additional 10 minutes after our time, if everyone else can. Then we can go for 20 more minutes.
We can do that. But what I'll do is I'm going to wrap up in 10 minutes and then we'll do Q&A. So if anyone wants to stay over. But what's great about this is that I'm going to use this example that's going to speak to everyone. So that's the great thing is when someone speaks up, it's going to speak to everyone. And then again, at the end of this call, honey, I want to tell you guys all right now, the funny thing about organizing is you want quick results and you want practical. That'll be in my How to Create a Mindful Space book, okay? The ebook. You'll get it. Trust me, you'll get it, okay? You can let go of that. They're quick solutions. You can make quick changes. You're going to get it. But this call, we have to go into mindsets first. Because that's what I learned with my clients is we dive first into the clutter and give quick solutions. But honestly, the decluttering and the organizing, it is not going to take most of your time up. Most of your time is getting into this deep stuff. So at the end of this, again, I want you to have one space in mind. We're going to do just a quick little visualization exercise. I'm going to finish answering this question. And then I think by then you'll have your new space. You'll have your organizing wish list, and you're going to see your space from a new perspective. That's going to perfectly set you up for my ebook. I haven't actually put it out yet. It's going to probably be next week. So you'll have some time to take in this information, and then once you receive it next week, you'll be ready to take practical steps. One of the aspects of learning about slowing down and being peaceful is patience. I know we're all patient, and I'm going to ask you to be patient and trust the process, and I will continue to honor your time. So let's do this, okay? All right, so going back to, I want to reflect back and remind me of your name. Jen, okay, here. Jen, you said you know what you don't want, which told you what you do want. So that's what you want to do with your spaces. Figure out, write down, what do you like? Be honest with yourself. What don't you like about the space? I heard you also say a limiting belief. I want to point out, again, not judgment, only for our words shape our future, but we're not typically aware of all of our words all the time. You made a statement that's very limiting. Many of us do this. I'm a mom, so it's always going to be chaotic. No, it's not. No, it's not. I promise you it's not. Shift that statement right now. Can you reflect back a truthful statement, something that feels true to you, knowing that you're a mom and it's not always going to be chaotic? Can you reach for a new belief?
Yeah, I think what I was trying to say was that I always used to tease my mother that we lived in a museum because her house was always clean and neat and everything had its place, and at the end of the day, it all went back to where it belonged. And I don't want to necessarily run such a tight ship. Like, it's okay if there's still dishes the next morning. I'm okay with that. So I guess what I was saying, like, there's going to be chaos as a mom, is that I'm choosing to sit down and do a puzzle with my kid instead of doing the dishes. So I guess I didn't see chaos as negative.
I'm choosing something that I value my time because it needs getting met, which is spending loving quality time with my son.
Yes, I like that. Yes.
That's the
I'm
truth.
choosing connection.
You're choosing connection. There you go. And you're very right. There's so much misinterpretation about organizing being about perfection. I'm a recovering perfectionist. I'm a recovering type A personality. I'm a recovering shopaholic, everything. That's why I have all these great tools, so we can have fun and remove the shame and be empowered instead with this experience. That's a great reframe, because organization, the beauty of it is that you can let a couple weeks go by. You can let a couple days go by, but you're organized and everyone knows where everything goes. So also you don't have to keep it all on your own. Everyone can help you and contribute in an ideal space, clutter-free space. And you're going to be saving time because you already have the systems and the homes already created. All you have to do is put things away. So yes, it's, again, life is going to happen, but it doesn't have to feel chaotic. It doesn't have to feel stressful, because when we're in that state of being, we're manifesting more of it. Okay, so I want to share that. Now let's do a quick little exercise where I want you to, this is literally going to be like a 3-minute, and then visualization. So what I want you to do is just close your eyes for a moment. If you're able to uncross your arms and your legs, that's allowing you to just be open and receptive to positive energy in your environment right now. And I want you to think of this particular space that you've chosen to declutter in your life, this physical space that's related to any of the clutters. So if you have money clutter, you're going to want to look in your office. If you have not enoughness, maybe it's mind clutter and emotional clutter, you can look at your kitchen, or you can look at your kitchen is what fuels, you feed yourself with. So are you feeding yourself with positive things that are going to give you vitality? Your wardrobe is going to be, are you feeling good with what you're wearing? You don't need to be obsessed with beauty, but understand that the things that we surround ourselves with are expression of who we are. So it's okay to express yourself with physical things. Just ensure that you're getting your needs met. Wants are just endless temptations. So go ahead and go back to your space. I want you to stand in the entrance of it. This is your power zen spot when you're in the front of your space and you can see it in your entirety. I want you to look at it, and I want you to ask yourself, how do you feel in this space right now? How do you feel? Do you feel stressed or peaceful? Let's keep it simple. Stressed or peaceful? Stressed or peaceful? If you're feeling stressed, what needs to change? One thing that needs to change. One thing. Just start with one thing. Number 2, how will you feel once that change is made? Think about how you'll feel once that change is made. Is that enough to inspire you to make that change? And if it is, you've chosen the right spot. And if it's not, maybe there's another space that's just frustrating you even more, and repeat the steps. Stand in the entrance. How do I feel? How do I want to feel? What changes do I need to make? Am I inspired to make those changes? You need to have a compelling vision for changing this space. That will naturally allow you to identify what doesn't belong there. Number 2, I want you to set an intention in the entrance of this space. Imagine a circle right in front of your feet, the size of a pillow. Imagine that circle has a color inside of it. And it has a word that every time you step into it in that space, you activate that intention. Think of one, it could be peace, it could be harmony, it could be relaxation, it could be empowerment, clarity, passion, inspiration. It could be any word that comes up. Just trust the word that comes up and take a moment and step in that circle. You've just activated that in your space. And lastly, I want you to look at your space, and I want you to say, thank you, clutter, for serving me up until now. Thank you, clutter, for serving me up until now. You are helping me make positive changes in my life and showing me exactly where the changes need to be made. Thank you. Go ahead and open your eyes when you're ready. You can wiggle your fingers, your toes, and go ahead and just take this last minute and write down anything you want to write down from that experience. All right. Everyone have enough time to write everything down? Okay, good. Okay, so now you have one change to make, just one change. You have your space, one change. Take a before picture and write down, I'm going to just give you my email address right now. So to make things easy, again, I know you're busy. Just simply, I'll also, if you can send me your email address, I'll send you, I'll just add you, I'll subscribe you so you'll automatically receive the ebook. Also, I do consultations, 15-minute consultations, so we can talk more about your particular needs. And so send me an email if you want to have a consultation. Check out my website. It's got tons of information also to share. And then from there, I'll always give you my best recommendations for moving forward in your journey. My email address is Suzie @Organized Zen Living. Just spell organize, put an N on it at the end, and then living. Organized Zen Living. .com. And organizedzenliving.com is my website. On social media, if you want to follow me on Instagram, on Facebook. On my Facebook, I'm also going to be posting in ways that'll help you stay on track in your organizing routine. So there's going to be information, did you know? There's going to be Mindful Mondays that are all about motivating mantras, Wisdom Wednesdays, Soulful Sundays. So just little pieces of inspiration to help you in your journey and continue to provide new insight and tools for you. All right. So yeah. So, and then we can move into the questions, but I'm gonna let you take it from here so that we can end it for the people that need to go. Yeah.
I was just going to say that you guys didn't know that this is what you were going to get when you signed up for this, right? You were thinking, like Suzie was saying, the quick tips, but she went deep. She, had us all think in different ways. And I know for sure I, wrote down some great nuggets. So I have a couple of pages of notes here. So anyway, yeah, let's open it up for Q&A in the last few minutes that we have here. I know Tanji posed a question in the chat.
Yeah, I'd love to answer these questions first and foremost, and then you can always email me your questions as well, because they'll also start guiding all the new blogs and all the content that I put out. So really, whatever your questions are, please don't hold back. I'm happy to help. Okay, so I think for me it's space freedom and then mental freedom. So we talked about space freedom with Jen. You want to stand in your space. We just did a little exercise for that. I want you to see your space for the first time. And you're going to do that by actually looking at it and feeling it, being present with it. That was the exercise. That's the reason why I had you stand, and also create an intention for your space. So we did that in 3 minutes. I think that's the quickest I've ever done, by the way. But mamas, you're helping me raise my abilities as well. But so space freedom, basically with space freedom, the first thing you want to do in any space is you want to, so what I do with my clients is I want to give them the experience of what clutter freeness feels like. So if it's an office, typically if a desk is a mess, we will clutter free the desk immediately. So what that means, just dumping everything in a bag first is okay. You have to be able to breathe first in your space. There's 3 things I teach about creating a mindful space. These are very, very important. You need to feel good first in your space. That's why we did the meditation. It didn't feel good to many of you. And so once you stepped into your power Zen spot, you could feel good in your space and you didn't have to remove a single thing from it. That's your power. Feel good, number 1. Second, then you look at function. How'd you feel into your space first? And then feel good. And then we look at what's not functioning when we're in a peaceful, more feel good state of being. Then when you look at the function, you can identify what's not functioning, and then you're in your flow. Feel good, function, flow. Feel good, function, flow. Number 1, you have to feel good. So go throughout your home, do a feel good assessment. Where you feel good, where you feel good, where you feel good, where don't you feel good? Make a list. Write down where all the spaces you don't feel good. Get it out of your head. Then all the spaces, then you can prioritize what space what space is frustrating me the most. That's a practical breakdown to help you step into figuring out your journey of what space you're going to create first. And once you create one space, our spaces teach us a lot in the journey. That's why I'm now going virtual 100% with my clients, because you have to be part of the process for the transformation to happen. And I can take you there step by step. Okay, feel good, function, flow for space freedom. Mental freedom. Same thing, you need to feel good. So mental freedom, one of the common blocks to this is your creative self, your creative, authentic, expressive self is wanting to express itself. So it's an imbalance. Mental clutter is a cause of imbalance of taking in, being stimulated, and not expressing it or getting it out of us. So if you're constantly thinking of things, reading things, even on social media, we take for granted all the texts we're reading, all the articles we're reading, intake. You're either intaking into your mind, just like your home, you're intaking, accumulating things, or you're relieving yourself and removing them. It's the same thing with your mind. The other thing is being conscious of what are you feeding your mind? What shows are you watching? What movies are you gravitated to? What books are you gravitated to? This is the self-awareness, is have like a total fascination with yourself and what really makes you feel good and what really doesn't make you feel good. And mental, the freedom is being able to creatively express yourself. And that's why creating mindful spaces is so much fun. And Jen, that's why you don't have to live in a dorm. You can accumulate some physical things using your natural, artistic, intuitive, creative expression of who you are. Let's say, for example, one thing I can say right now, just looking at your space, is where are the pictures of your family or the people that are important to you. Add that into your space immediately, because that is taking from your head into your heart. You're bringing heart into your home. You're bringing love into your home, and then that's going to reflect back at you. So that's part of your expressing yourself, is my need is family, a loving family. So my picture shows me how essential that is in my life. And now your space is starting to reflect back who you are. And you're getting mental freedom because you're getting it out of your head and you're expressing yourself in some way. Now, that could be your space. Maybe you love clothes and you want to express yourself with clothes. I also have a blog on color, because moms, we need to keep it simple. You want to start expressing yourself with color? Do that alone. I have a blog on how you can start doing that. The color associated with peace, by the way, is green. They're all associated with your chakras. So go take a look at color if you want to start. If you have a lot of mental freedom, free yourself with color and expressing yourself, your truth in some way.
And then we'll end on the money clutter.
And the money clutter. All right. I have a special wallet card that I'm going to be making available soon. And it has 5 questions on what to ask yourself before you make a purchase to ensure you're feeling good. You got to feel good. And also what I want you to think about with money right now is in those moments when you're spending it, money. Okay. First of all, I have an amazing book recommendation. It's called The Soul of Money. Again, with super busy lifestyles, it can be hard to take on a lot of books. If you're like me, I like to read a lot of books. So some of the little shortcuts I'll give you is you can get it on audio version. So when you're in the car, you can listen to it on audio, or you can just go straight to the point and go on YouTube or podcast of the authors and start intaking their information. We think it has to look a certain way, but with our busy lifestyles, we have to find a way, right? Navigating our way into incorporating our needs. Needs are non-negotiable. If you need peace, you're going to want to create it any way you can. And green, peace, we think of money, we think of green, right? So it was a perfect transition into money. So if you want to be more abundant with money and have more abundance, you also need to not be so attached with money physically, because money is an energy that we have a relationship with. So how are we talking? How are we speaking to money? Money, I don't have enough of you. Why aren't you there for me? I feel broke. I feel this. I feel that. Or money, I keep buying these things, but I'm not happy. How are you talking to money? Why don't you shift the conversation and say, money, how can I best support you? I guarantee you'll start experiencing a lot more abundance with that question alone. Start connecting with the spirit of money, your relationship with money, because I can't even tell you how many miracles have happened in my life unexpectedly where you have them too, where things have happened financially unexpectedly. You didn't know how it was going to work, and somehow it came to you. You received that check in the perfect time you needed them. Has money always been there for you? That's a question to also ask yourself. I have lived in less than 240 square feet on the least amount of money I've ever made in my life, and I've been the most joyful. And that's because I experienced money in abundance and a wealthy way that went beyond how we typically experience money. Money buys things that we want. What are wants? Endless temptations. What are needs? Non-negotiable. So or for you, do you value supporting, do you value health? Maybe if you value health, you're a conscious mama, then maybe you want to spend time because it's valuable instead of the grocery store. You want to shift it up and maybe go to a farmer's market once a month or once a week or something, because you value farm to fresh food. You value how much that food energy is going to give you and your family vitality. So you want to spend your money in a way that supports that. You want to think deeper of how you're spending your money, how you're spending your time. Again, what you're feeding yourself with, what you're feeding your mind. What shows are you watching? Are you watching shows that are a lot of drama? Because they're going to bring a lot of drama into your life. They're going to bring a lot of drama into your thoughts, into your life. Maybe, I'll tell you, I watched the Kardashians. That was one of and I'm like, why am I watching the Kardashians? They go against everything that I value. No, when I kept going deeper, I was like, you know why I like it so much? Is because they do have an abundance mentality that I wanted to learn, not from an ego perspective, but from a heart perspective. Materialism aside, that doesn't inspire me. What inspires me is they always have big bowls of salad in these clear big bowls. So I value health, and I really caught that from them. So I bought myself a big glass bowl and I started eating these healthy salads. So again, we are so judgmental about the things that we do and so critical and this and that, instead of really focusing on the positive growth aspects of it. So yes, I haven't in a while, but I think because I was able to figure out what my needs were. I was able to figure out I was needing to be around more abundance mindset, abundance philosophy, abundance people that were living an abundant life. So this is where the mindful aspect is so important. And the more you let go of your clutter, by thanking it, honestly right now, if you're like, give me one thing I could do, start thanking your clutter for serving you and understand how it's been serving you. And you'll naturally let go of it. One of the reasons why Marie Kondo does this spark joy method is so effective is because it gets you out of your head and into your heart. I'm telling you, you don't need to make an intellectual head decision about your clutter. Your heart knows whether it's meant to stay or go. And that's why we've spent all this time on this talking and not practicality. The book will give you that. You'll have that. We got to get out of our heads this mental clutter and get into our hearts, the real heart of the matter, the real heart of what's important. And the heart is you. You're the heart. You are a mom is the most important role in our world. You don't even realize how important you are, and that everything you do has nothing to do, it doesn't touch who you truly are and the power of the love that you give to anyone that really knows you. And those are the people you want to continue to keep close with you in your life. I've learned a lot. I wasn't able to share all this. I'm going to be writing a book called Clutter Freedom, expanding and all this more, but I wasn't able to start my own writing of all this until I went through all these steps myself. So I really share people clutter has been probably the most life-changing for me out of everything, is being able to have a joyful, healthy relationship in your life. Because if you're like me in my past, if you've had trauma, it creates drama, and we don't know how we contribute to it. And we have to learn how to reconcile the trauma and the things that have happened that are so painful, because once we reconcile it in a very positive, loving approach, it gives it no power. The shame is removed. So that, if anything, that's what I've learned. I've seen behind closed doors. I have a very unique perspective. Actually, even before I was an organizer, I worked in luxury apartment homes, but let me tell you, they weren't all luxury. Many of them were evicted. Many of them had conflicts, and it was chaotic. And so I have been in homes all my adult life working, and I've seen everything. And I used to judge myself from the masks that people put on, that I wasn't good enough because I wasn't near close to the best representation they were showing me of themselves. But as an organizer, I got to see beyond those masks, and I've seen and I've worked with clients in their deep, deep shame. That's why I'm so compassionate about giving you lifelong tools that you're going to model to your children. This is not just about you. This is about your children, and you also, how you're inspired by this work, sharing that, and that touching other people's hearts and their lives. Maybe they're inspired to create a mindful space or declutter just because they've seen the changes in you. You know, we inspire, we rise together, but we cannot change anyone else. We can only change ourselves and be a model of that. So, yeah.
I love this. So I got to go get my kiddos, but
yeah,
I love this, the 7 clutter types, because I feel like it gives us all something to wrap our brains around and to really look at. Like, out of the 7, I have 2 of them that are like totally handled, right? And then there's 5 that are kind of like, I don't know, I'm halfway, I don't know, I'm in there. So, but it's good because now I can go, okay, I'm going to handle that first, and then I'm going to go on to the next one, right? And look at how I can handle that. So thank you for this framework.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing the depth that you brought to this discussion. I think we can all appreciate that because we're all deep thinkers here. And I guarantee that nobody had the number 1, the vision clutter. I bet nobody in here has that. And we're all visionaries. We're all purposeful. We're all, like, that's who we are.
So it's time. Time is the next step, and that's my next blog. Yeah. So, and this has inspired me. Thank you, Justine. I am going to have more online webinars, probably some free ones too. This conversation's not over.
No, thank you. and they're thanking you in the chat, and stay connected with Suzie. She's giving you multiple ways, and I'll post it on our group too as well. Perfect. With your bio and everything. So, stay in touch with her, follow up any questions you have, send her your pictures. I'm going to go take a picture of my closet after I get the kids, and I'm going to send it to you. That's what I'm working on first. So thank you, Suzie, so much, and everybody for showing up to be here with us. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Justine.
You're welcome. Bye, guys.